You're listening to the Warlord Radio Podcast.
Bass player in Denton, and I get shit on for that all the time.
Yeah,
Who would be the best bass player in your band?
I wasn't gonna say it.
He wasn't gonna say anything.
I've never heard you play bass. Randall's very good though.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
He can pop it. He's like, I'm okay. Well,
I spent money to be okay at it, so I better be pretty good at it at this point.
Better be.
I suppose that's fair. They're like, hey, transpose all this Jocko. Nerd.
And I'm not even gonna spend the time to try to learn Jocko at this point because it's been done. It's too much.
This is Denton. Like Jocko and Victor Wooten. If you can't do any of that, you're just not even a real bass player.
I was thinking of Victor Wooten. It was either earlier today or yesterday, coincidentally enough, and like Victor. That would be an amazing show to go and see, but you don't go to a Victor Wooten show thinking, "Oh man, I hope he plays those couple songs that really."
No,
It's just like no matter what, I'm getting crazy bass, and it doesn't matter what song he plays.
Yeah,
He's like, I really hope these edibles kick in before he hits a 32 note run.
Yeah, you don't like. I'm a huge Nine Inch Nails fan, so I'm definitely going to the Nine Inch Nails shows in Dallas later this year.
Everybody's excited about those.
Oh, me more than everybody.
I will
be at both shows.
Yeah.
So, as not the biggest Nine Inch Nails fan, what would you say? What's the best album? Your opinion?
I'm biased, so I think every album is good.
Yeah.
The best album is, for me, is probably Broken.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Downward Spiral is a hard second because, even though that's the epitome of Nine Inch Nails, that's where they really broke through. Broken is kind of tucked away just before it. They didn't tour before. They didn't tour for it. He actually did it in secret, unbeknownst to TVT Records at the time. So he used all their equipment. They didn't know this shit.
That is so fucking Trent Reznor, though.
Yeah,
and so no, I'm still gonna use it
because he transferred from TVT to Interscope, and at the time he didn't he did that in secret and then released it. We're not gonna tour for this. I'm working on this new album with this shittier, bigger label. But they, Broken. My favorite is Broken. That really resonated with me in my youth.
I only know Up Through the Fragile.
Oh,
I think that's all.
And then after that, I've really only heard a little bit here and there.
He has made more music now being off drugs than he did.
Yeah,
Up Through
well,
the
he
Fragile.
did a fuck ton of releases there.
Every album has the remixes, the singles,
not to mention he produced and essentially was featured on.
We could do a whole episode on me
shit.
talking about Nine Inch
Just
Nails.
Trent Reznor. I don't know enough
I'm
about
constantly
it.
underestimating your Nine Inch Nails nerddom. I
have
know it's there. Every time you
idea.
open your mouth, it gets a little deeper. And a little darker.
These two shows later this year will be my 5th and 6th time seeing them.
No shit.
And I will see them. I will cancel a Monogamizer show to go see Nine Inch Nails. Yeah.
Trying to think. The only band I've seen that many fucking times and really followed around was Judas Priest. I've seen Judas Priest every time they came into town.
They're never bad.
Never. And Rob Halford, he is old and out of shape and maybe not as beautiful as he used to be. And he still just comes out and crushes it. That voice is iron. It's so strong and it never wavers. It's insane. And
He fell over on his bike recently.
he probably still got up though and was like, "Let me hear the battle cry."
Yeah.
I think he got an ovation out of that. Ah, that's cute. You're amazing.
It's in 40 years you haven't tipped that bike. You finally did it.
Jason, are we all
so
good?
Butch. Are we recording already? Is that what we've been doing this whole time?
He's recording.
How does it sound, Butch?
All right.
We're just going off on a
I like it when podcasts start that way. They're just like, so Al Bundy. They're like, if Ralph Cramden had a knife fight with Al, who would win?
I got
How
my money
many
on
cats?
What was how did Married with Children end? Like, what was the
I
season?
assume with a restraining order of some sort.
I remember I love that show, but I don't know how it ends.
You know what's I saw some meme online the other day, and it was like, it had all the TV dads. And it had like Ralph Cramden and Bill Cosby and the dude from Seventh Heaven and then Al Bundy. And it was like, this is the only one that's not a piece of shit in real life.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Because the guy from Seventh Heaven got busted for like child porn or something like that.
Touched by an angel.
He was definitely touching angels because that's what the New York Times calls children.
His eighth heaven.
All right, so we've been going for a minute, but we're going to officially start this. This is Warlord Radio, episode 2.
That was badass.
amazing.
Fuck yeah.
So in the house today, we have the mighty Monogamizer, or at least 2/3 of it. So please introduce yourselves.
My name is Randal. I play bass and perform vocals for Monogamizer.
I'm Nick. I'm the drummer.
And apparently an amazing bassist in your own right. Are there
Yeah,
any
he was
other,
in here dick swinging a minute ago. Talking about how fucking awesome he is at bass.
Are there any other instruments that you play?
Yeah, I've played bass for like 12 years,
Dick.
guitar for probably 11. I picked up drums 2 years ago. I played piano on and off.
You ever had a job?
He just got a promotion.
I play a little bit.
There you go. Randall, are there any other instruments that you play?
Artistic direction.
Well, yeah, we were going to
true.
get to that, but
No.
I forgot I used to play trumpet in high school band. Very important.
The producer Jason's a trumpet dude.
Yeah.
so
yeah.
I'm assuming, can you read and write music both?
Yeah, I was a composition student briefly.
Okay.
Shit, you have a leg up on most of Denton metal. I don't think
Yup.
any of us
Of
even
anybody.
own sheet music.
Can you read or write music?
I've never even been into that Pender store. I always pass by there
Man.
in my.
I didn't know what it was, and I walked in when I first moved here, expecting to have like like a guitar shop or something. I saw Pender's Music. I was like, oh my god, this is just you're 100 years old and you're peddling like just decrepit old.
Check
pieces
out
of
this
paper.
harpsichord I have.
Really.
Like Gregorian chant.
Yeah, can I interest you in any ancient tomes? Yeah.
So what about the missing member of Monogamizer?
He's a classical guitar grad student.
Oh.
So he's got a leg up on me.
Boy, does he play guitar.
He is good.
He is. He's amazing, but he's not your original guitar player.
Not by a stretch.
He is the fifth,
Fifth.
and he is the fifth drummer.
So you had 5 reincarnations in this band?
So
Why? You're so easy to work with.
That's debatable.
Fair enough.
there you go. How long have you been in the band, Nick?
Just shy of 2 years, probably.
Okay. And then Alex is the newest member who's not here, and he's been in there.
Not even a year,
Not a
months.
year.
A year in July.
Okay. And then you're the founding member, correct?
Yes.
And then when did you start the band?
In 2013, under the name Freebasin Masons.
Nice.
That's a great name. So
And-
why did you change it to Monogamizer?
One day, Monogamizer
Came to
just
you.
came to me, and
Does it have any special meaning, or to you at all, or is it just the name factor? Is that why you changed?
the meaning unfolded more. The longer we were Monogamizer, the meaning kind of made itself known. Originally, it just sounded cool, but now with as many left turns as we make in our music, to me it means just to cram it all together to monogamize the sound and
I really like that.
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with monogamy or marriage, but I like that it makes people think of that.
Right.
And I have found that no matter who you are or if you believe in monogamy or not, no one has no opinion on it. Everyone has very strong connotations of what monogamizer means. And even if they jokingly are like, oh, do you guys force people to get married on stage? Like,
Does that happen?
I've gotten that comment a lot.
Oh my god, I would
Yeah.
slap the fucking
And
piss out of people
I
for
li-
that.
I appreciate it makes people think, but the meaning is just, it sounds cool.
Yeah,
And you know what? There's something to be said for that.
of course.
Because you definitely like, and especially in heavy metal, because there's 50,000 different subgenres of metal. There's 50 billion bands out there, and like having name recognition is awesome. And when you tell people, I have literally had this experience where I'm like, yeah, I'm playing with Monogamizer on Friday, and they're like, who?
Yeah.
And then like 3 or 4 days later, they're like, how was Monogamizer? I'm like, awesome as always. But it's one of those bands that I tell somebody the name of your band, and it just sticks in their head.
They stop for a second.
Yeah,
and
no, I've been
Yeah.
like smoking a cigarette outside Andy's, watching people walk by before we go on, and they read the names of the bands, and they're just looking at it. Monogamizer! Like,
Right?
no matter what they think, they thought about it, and it sticks.
Hey man, that's solid marketing for
Well,
your underground band.
Band names are always, I would argue, like one of the most fucking difficult things
Well,
that
they
you
can
could
become
do.
so farcical immediately. Like,
Well, you know,
They
that's
can make or break a band. Like,
well, that's
legit.
the issue. I'd say is that like you said, it's like there's a billion bands. So any idea that you come up with, no matter how obscure, you're like, I'm gonna name it after the second Greek deity ever created.
Edgar
No,
Allan
8 guys
Poe
already
poem.
have that one.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
They have
So
a folk metal band with a mandolin in it.
yeah, and you know, so to come up with something interesting, and then to actually like have like a backstory with it is very cool because it's so hard to do.
And it properly expresses the vibe of the band. Like, you guys are Monogamizer. You sound, in my head, like Monogamizer would. You know
Like
what I
we
mean?
would.
Right.
Because if
With a
any
name
of
like
you out
that.
there that haven't heard Monogamizer before, you will later in the show. But I mean, it's like, it's metal, but then there's so much other stuff thrown into it.
As far as extreme metal goes, we're not that heavy. But as far as like hard rock and just metal at a broad scale goes, we're pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Like,
I've had that thought before getting booked. Like, we've played shows where we're either by far the heaviest band and it's almost weird.
Yeah.
We played a show the other night that was all grindcore bands, and we looked like light in comparison, you know, because it's not just nonstop blast beats.
Yeah.
We've got a little bit of all of it though, and I think that's kind of like playing into the monogamy, if you will, of the sound. Is like there's almost little bits of every kind of metal squished into all the songs.
Not just metal, though. I mean,
Well,
you
absolutely
guys,
not,
there's
yeah.
all kinds. Like, I have. There are very few bands I've heard that have fused as many genres as you have together and like still come out with a cohesive sound. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is still pleasurable to my ears and not just a sonic assault on my brain.
where did that come from?
Well, you guys are absolutely one of the most unique sounding bands around.
Thank
For
you.
sure.
Metal or not is you know, is, you know, to call you guys like progressive metal would be accurate, but
Still kind of a misnomer.
We get
Yeah,
lumped,
it gives
but
you
we
the
get
wrong
lumped
idea,
into that.
yeah.
it's not is that you guys are progressive in the sense that you will use progressive time signatures
We
and
just
that
kind
you-
of arrive at that.
and you'll use different styles, so it's like a single song could go from extreme underground death metal to jazzy to light instrumentation
Yeah.
to like 70s rock, like back to death metal. Oh, and then the next song will be totally different. So how would you guys describe your sound if you had to, you know, like when you're booking shows and someone asks like, well, what, you know, style are you, like how do you answer that?
Whenever for booking shows and in that situation, like what style are you? I tell them we're basically prog metal. Like, I mean,
It's the safest answer you can give somebody and still get booked.
right?
No,
But
I feel that.
I really though, like it gets hard to explain at times because like really like there's elements like you said like 70s rock.
Yeah.
Like me and Alex are both. That's actually I've been listening to a bunch of Yes lately.
Nice.
And like me and Alex are getting really into King Crimson, and so there's all these elements
oh man,
like
In the Court of the Crimson King is a great
yeah.
album.
I just got Red on vinyl. I found that the other day. Yeah, dude. So like it gets hard to explain without doing, you know,
Right.
it just in words because
I tell people there's a lot of left turns.
it's surprising metal.
See, and to the naked ear out there, you might be a metalhead sitting on your beanbag chair.
Who the fuck are
fuming.
70s rock? What
Yeah, and you're sitting there in your fucking, mayhem shirt, all pissed off at us for even talking about other genres, other than because that's how that shit
Hey,
works.
sometimes I do sit around in my mayhem shirt, so don't knock it too hard.
In my
I'm not
hand
knocking
chair.
it, I'm saying
While I'm
yeah.
playing God of War.
I'm
but,
saying,
you
yeah.
know, it's-
3 out of 4 metalheads are sitting in a beanbag chair in a mayhem shirt, wondering what the fuck we're talking about. But like, anybody else would think, oh, that's a really pretentious answer. Like, it's hard to explain. That's a cop-out answer. No, you need to listen to Monogamizer. This is the most legitimate answer these guys could have possibly given.
well, it's very accurate.
Very accurate,
A lot of bands will be like, "Oh, we don't sound like anybody else," and I'm like, "Bullshit!" like bullshit.
Let's make a graph.
because
really.
it's like there's very good reasons that bands do sound like other bands. You know what I mean? It's like you
not a
can
bad
you
thing.
can still have a unique sound and still be a doom metal band like Crop Dust.
yeah, very
Right.
much. Yeah.
I love Crop. They're one of my
So-
favorite.
Yeah,
So, okay, hold
vocalists.
up. This
Great fans, but you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like you can accurately say doom metal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or sludge.
or sludge, but they have a very unique sound.
Yeah.
And so it's not a bad thing to be like, oh, you do fit in a genre, right? But you guys actually do kind of exist outside of a genre,
Like,
even though you're still metal, because you are metal. Like, you guys do have very heavy either death metal or grindcore parts within your songs.
even some black metal thrown in there.
But is that then you will also have, like I said, some very progressive parts, some very kind of jazzy parts, some very classic rock parts, and all this kind of stuff, and you just kind of make it work. So,
We juxtapose like really like
yeah.
with
If there was a Venn diagram of metal, you guys would be a pie chart 3 feet away.
Well, it's really like, in a way, it's kind of accidental, but I think this is cool in that, like he said, like I'm the 5th drummer, Alex is the 5th guitar player.
I've been watching you for years. I did not realize there were 5
So
completely
like
different lineups.
at this point, a lot of the stuff that we play live is totally different than the songs that are recorded, and I think that like, especially in the case, I'd say me and Alex, like we're not really coming at this from like a metal standpoint initially, almost, which is I think part of why the sound is so amorphous sometimes, but also why I like it. Like we are super invested in a bunch of other genres of music, and it's really about bringing that into metal. And like we've recrafted other people's old material. So like, I mean, I've rewritten drum parts that are 4 drummers old for some of the like, especially like the kind of like lighter jazzy stuff. There was double bass in some of those parts on the recorded album, and I'm like, I don't even play double bass.
Wow, no, you don't, do you?
Mm-mm.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. You guys,
It
you
does a
guys
lot
kind
to
of
the
defy
groove,
definition of
where when you take that I guess you take your ability to just over a part and just like splash some double bass over or behind a part because it doesn't not fit, but like I think with a single kick pedal, it makes you think. It doesn't make me think. I'm not the drummer. It makes him think. And
I would imagine it would force you to pay more attention to like dynamic.
deliberately
Well, and it's
play.
way more about, I guess, like the jazz element of my drumming comes in when it's about like highlighting what's happening everywhere else. You can't really, and there are a couple parts where I do play blast beats, but like when you're playing blast beats, you're not pointing out specific rhythms. there's like it's like a texture in the background.
Yeah.
So like the kick drum is for groove just like it is in just like a regular rock band. You know what I mean? There's the grooves may be really weird and off kilter in like 15, 16 time or whatever, but it's really about being super deliberate with the parts instead of just going nuts on the bass drum.
I know what song he's referencing.
It's like when I got into metal, I skipped from like kind of classic like Sabbath to Maiden era up into like kind of 2000s and on, really extreme prog metal.
Yeah.
I kind of
give some examples.
So like I remember Protest the Hero was one of the first metal bands I heard that just like blew my mind. I learned the whole Fortress album on bass. I was just like so invested in it. A bunch of stuff like the Faceless, like really extreme progressive death metal.
Right.
I got super into that, and the drumming in that is
Planetary
just
duality and stuff like
yeah,
that.
the drumming's insane. I don't play like that at all though.
Right.
I don't really even want to at this point because as cool as it is and it really fits, I say that's probably one of the prime examples of that still being musical.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's so many just really technical death metal drummers that all they played the whole song was 30-second notes.
Right.
And like I couldn't do it at this point, honestly I couldn't, but at the same time if you can't take away all the instruments and not tell which part of the song you're in from the drum parts, I don't think that you're necessarily utilizing your rhythmic ability as a drummer.
Right.
That is a very interesting point and a very ballsy thing to say on a metal podcast. So yeah, I applaud you, man. Respect.
It's you know, it's the thing that I enjoy about watching you guys play is that no matter how far out of left field it goes, is that you always circle back to something really cool and heavy.
Yes.
And it's that dynamic is that what I really like, because you could take the same parts and you could go off on a million different directions, and you could never go back to the heavy stuff. You could never go back to the blast beat. You could never go back to the scream vocals. You could never go back to like a really heavy riff, right? But you do. And you bring it back. And that, to me, as a metalhead, is what I really like, is that because that keeps me interested on where you're going to go.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I know it's coming back. It's going off all these different places, but it's really cool because how tight you all are. So it really locks in. But I always cue in on that. I'm like, all right, where's it
true,
going?
'cause,
And
like,
where's it
We have to resolve it
coming
somehow.
back? Yeah.
As the metalhead, you're conditioned. You're like, all right, we've played that part. Now we're gearing up for like a real big breakdown or something like that. And then it's like, oh no, slap bass solo in like fucking some crazy ass time signatures.
I'd like the listeners to know that never happens in Monogamizer.
Why don't we have slap bass,
Why
Randall?
don't you have
because-
slap
next-
bass?
Because
Next
you're playing
album.
drums
Oh.
and I play pick.
So, are there any newer songs that you have written with these two guys?
Yes.
Two at this point that we've been playing.
I'm
Yeah.
actually curious. So you've been together like 2003. How many songs does Monogamizer actually have at this point?
There's 10 on the first album, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 we typically play that are not recorded yet. So as far as released original material, we have about 14 or 15 songs.
That's nothing to slouch at.
No.
And
People don't realize that.
Well, and like it's funny too for how long the band in quotes has been a band unquotes. It's like you could probably have done more, but there's so many lineup changes. Like I've been through 2 guitarists having only been in the band in 2 years,
Right.
and it's just having to put everything back together from the ground up, being
It's-
only a 3-piece.
It's a bitch. It's
Oh,
literally
man.
the worst thing ever to replace somebody.
And it
Yeah.
always manages to happen right after you release an album.
Right.
Like, all right, we just spent so much money showing you how we sound.
Yeah.
And now we sound completely
Now we sound
different.
so-
switch it up.
Yeah. But no, like to what you were saying is that for people that don't know, right? For people that haven't been in a band or are just fans, which is great, or even if you've been in a band with limited experience, as far as like just practicing or whatever. Because there's different levels, right? It's like there's totally bands that will form and they never get out of the garage.
Yeah. Some good bands too, like very good bands.
And hey, that's cool.
Sometimes it's just for fun.
And then there's bands that will play live a couple of times.
There's bands that don't gel well together as people at all, but they've all got the same goal as we're going to do this as a band.
And there's, now in these times, there's a surprising number of bands that they hardly ever even meet each other. You might have one guy in California, one guy in Colorado, and another guy in South Dakota.
Why are you a band?
Blows my mind. Yeah,
Right.
they'll meet once a year, record an album, and then go their separate ways again.
Right.
That's crazy to me.
It to me as well, but there's a surprising number of that. So the whole roundabout point of that is that you guys are very impressive because you're on that very limited number of bands that not only make it for years, but have multiple recordings, have played in several states,
Survived lineup changes.
and are still going strong. So, we're talking to you today, and you guys are bigger than before, and you've got lots of plans on the horizon. It's not over.
Yeah, 5 years ago, I never would have playing to a couple people at Rubber Gloves like 3 years ago at the time was like, we finally got booked at Rubber Gloves.
Yeah.
Yes. And like if 5 years ago, if someone had been like, hey, you're going to be on a really sweet podcast in 5 years talking about how far the band has gone, I'd have been like, no, we're not.
Yeah.
Why?
But that's what like what you were saying. It's like what you could do. Like, I guess what I'm saying is like the reality of being in a band, and playing is in many ways so much harder and so much better than many people would realize. Even maybe people that have jammed before in a band and stuff like that, is like, unless you're out there doing it, it's very hard to grasp the difficulties that you can come across. So the fact that you guys have like 15, 16 songs, and the fact that you guys are playing multiple shows in a month across different states is huge. Like, that really, like, you guys are a professional band. Now, I know that none of us here are making money in the sense that we all work jobs.
Yeah.
Everybody we know works jobs.
Yeah.
Like, no one is that. But guess what? Everybody works jobs nowadays. Like, there are no more like Motley Crue days.
The lead singer of Suffocation had to give up Suffocation to continue factory work or something.
Hey, you know what, man? Like,
Work. I'm not knocking factory
I've got a
work.
5-year-old boy, and if it came down to it, I would have to scrap Diesel Beast to feed that kid. You know what I mean? Like, that happens.
But
thankfully, that's not where I'm at. But that's easy. That could easily happen.
I guess that metric, that idea of like, oh, if you haven't quit your job, and if that isn't your only thing, then you're not doing it. No, that's absolutely wrong, actually. Is that you guys are the epitome of doing it, because you're working, you're sacrificing, you're doing your thing, and you're out there playing your original ass music.
It's very original.
To crowds all over the place, and crowds that you don't know. That is, to me, like such a huge thing, because so few people not only ever get to that level, but maintain it.
Yeah.
Every lineup change this band has ever seen.
So you say we, it's you.
It's
Well, no, it's you. It's we now, right?
We now.
I guess I did sit through one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I take a lot of the direction in this band being the founding member, but with anyone that has been through this band, or anyone that's in this band now, and God forbid anyone that is in the band in the future,
Right.
I try to remain diplomatic about this band. They have to write the music, they have to play the music. even if it's, music I have composed mostly myself, I try to keep an intuition about the sound, because anyone that comes through has to live with these songs week after week,
So
month
you approach
after
it
month.
from an ensemble mentality. Like, I may have done this groundwork, but I want your influence on it as well.
Anything that we have recorded, or however old any song is still subject to be rewritten, re-recorded, made better.
Which, in my opinion, certainly works to your benefit, because you guys have, a little bit more of an eclectic sound. You get to mix more influences in there, which is very interesting.
And every lineup change that's ever happened, I'm from Irving, and any musician that is familiar with being a teenager in Irving, guitarists and bass players are a dime a dozen, but finding a drummer who is good and reliable and will put the time forth,
seven other bands,
and not in 7 other bands, is hard to come by. So we've lucked out every time we've had to replace anyone or any. I don't like the word replace. You don't truly replace anyone, because every individual person brings their own individuality to the project, yada yada yada. But
Is it retired? Is it like a Blade Runner?
smoke them.
Yeah.
Every time
no
we've had
longer
to
needed.
switch, every time we've had to switch things up, things fell into place. Fortunately for us, and
You are, like, from this story that you've told us, it's just like you're constantly juggling plates and actually managing to catch them before they hit the ground, and that is quite impressive.
Well, you guys sound the best now
I agree.
that I have ever
I
heard
agree
you,
as
and
well.
I've seen you guys for years.
Yeah.
What I think is super funny about that is the drummer I took the place of, still way better than me.
Joe,
Bree-
was that Joe?
Bree Myers?
Bree is
killer drummer, man.
badass.
Bree is a sick
Bree's
drummer.
badass.
Well, here's the thing, but let me interject something about that. Is another thing that I don't think a lot of people understand is that raw ability and skill definitely play a part, especially for the type of music that you guys are playing, because you guys are all very musically advanced. But what's way more important is how well somebody fits within the band than their skill.
And I think from what I've heard, that was more of the issue. Is Bree just wasn't into. I mean, I don't know how you could expect somebody to be into, like, a really specific eclectic style of metal-ish music. Like,
we
it's
were a
just
stretch
so-
for Bree,
Yeah.
and Bree, if you
Not
hear this is
skill-wise,
not.
but conceptually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas
like, conceptually-
musically, I'm a pretty stretchy guy.
Yeah.
Pretty
But-
flexible.
But yeah, like I said, I do think that the cohesion has grown over the changes, and that it's the tightest and best now.
I agree.
I agree as well.
And I also think it's the heaviest now.
We know how to do that the most now than we have ever in this band's history. Just
And that's huge. That's great. Like I said, is to actually get better as you go is, I would say, the goal. But then again, it's pretty rare.
the
that
goal is
someone actually pulls it
exponential to
off.
be this much better than you were, and then this much better, and just exponentially.
That is the constant struggle of the musician, is that knowing that the day you die will be the best you are at music. You know what I mean?
Same with
If you
same with
stick it.
painters.
Yeah.
I'm a visual artist outside of this whole. Actually, I'm an
Very
artist
good
first.
one.
And you do all the artwork, right?
I am this. I refuse. Well, I don't refuse to let anyone else do this band's art. I will, like, do commissions if I need to, and but, like, we say really just to save money. I do all our artwork.
So what's your background?
I graduated from UNT with a drawing and painting degree in 2012. And I am a visual artist before I'm a musician.
When I met you, before I even knew you played bass, I came over to do some video or something, and you were painting in the garage. And when I first met you, I remember looking at this giant painting you had on the ground and being like, man, this guy's got skill.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like your
Well,
stuff.
thank you.
Jason, how much time are we at? How much? 35. All right, we are going to take a quick break for music. If we haven't set this up, so this is a little bit of the backstage showing through. Were you to send us a track to play on this podcast, which one do you think would be the first one?
Religious Vigor. If you go to our Bandcamp, it's our newest recorded track. It's where we are now recorded. It's as far as we've come.
What is your Bandcamp link? We'll go over this again at the end of the show, but just go ahead and throw it out there.
The good thing about the name Monogamizer is it's not taken anywhere unless I take it.
True.
So monogamizer.bandcamp.com.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, and the name of the song one more time is
Religious Vigor.
Here's Religious Vigor. I love it when you do that. We'll be right back.
tired of like half a genre of music where all you do is fucking talk about yourself. It's not just Kanye either, and that's that's not a new hip hop thing.
Style of hip hop. If you're gonna get into that,
yeah. And Kanye's just the height of that. Into the mic. Yeah, I need to raise this. I'm a tall ass motherfucker. There we go.
And we're back.
And we are.
So before we we're probably gonna edit this little part out. What would be the second track you would send us?
So like I thought Dog Blood might be representative.
Yeah. Or
We should-
5.
One
or
of the
FFS.
two. I mean, we're still playing all three of those because there are some songs on the first album we aren't really playing live anymore.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with FFS because it's
FFS?
short and it's sweet.
Okay, cool. Then
Is that Finish Fade Spin?
Yeah.
all right? Then let's. Okay.
Oh, on different platforms like CD Baby and Spotify, you can't type some characters. So the name of the song is Finish, Fade, Spin with periods at the end of it. And I'm very particular about how things are titled and labeled and how it reads. And I love Facebook's edit and delete features. I use them frequently. But like on different platforms, like you can't print out commas or like special characters like that. So that's why on I think Spotify it's like, or on the printing on the album it's Finish, Fade, Spin, but on Spotify I couldn't do periods, like just the small detail, but that's why it's called Finish, Fade, Spin or spelled out. I'm very particular about that.
I got you. So have you done all the lyrics in the band?
Yeah, mostly. On the first album, our old guitarist Zach helped out a lot. And yeah, most of the lyrics on contextually, I guess I would say I give all the songs.
So what do you guys write about for the person that doesn't know who you are? Like, so we've told them that you're this crazy metal band that
has the balls to experiment with many different styles.
That fuses many different styles. So I guess you could be kind of prog metal, but not prog metal in the sense of it's not like Animals as leaders or
even I Am Man, I Am Monster.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
it's not like that. It's definitely progressive, but I wouldn't throw it in the prog metal.
Very experimental.
Yeah, but given that, so how did the lyrics fit in?
I think a lot of the influence for the lyrics are very down to earth. It's all the lyrics are very outrageous, but they're outrageous interpretations of something that's very intimate, down to earth, just a very personal experience.
So give an example, like what's Dog Blood?
Dog Blood is about how you project yourself onto your pet. And everyone in our band are all dog people.
Right.
You know, we like cats, but we're dog people.
Right. Is that a requirement for being in the band?
No.
Are you sure? Like subconsciously, you're not just
we haven't tested it yet.
So,
but we'd have to kick somebody out.
If you're just, Nick's been in the band for a while and you're just hanging out, and then if he's just like one day, he's like, man, I fucking hate dogs.
Or he doesn't even have to do that. He's just like, I'm really into
He's the only person
now.
in the band
like
who doesn't have a dog.
Ferret spin.
My roommates have dogs, which is way better than owning your own dogs. Never
That's
going
how
back.
I feel about children. I'm just like, hey, that kid is cool.
Someday I'll have nephews, and I'll think that's badass, I'm sure.
I love you, Jack. You're my favorite person in the whole wide world.
You're very lucky, Jack.
You are. Your dad is super cool. Anyway. No, but like what is your so you tend to take some personal experience that may not even be like this massively deep.
I exaggerate very personal experiences.
Okay, that's actually a really good answer. So, actually, here's a question we've asked every show. This being our second one.
Yeah.
And this is one that we're all very interested in, and I think anybody in any band should be interested in. How do you get to your shows?
Yeah, because you guys go out of town, obviously, right? Because we just played with you out of town.
We can fit the three of us and all the gear in one Honda CRV.
See, we were talking about that. Another rare thing in the world of metal, especially in this area, is you guys only have 3 dudes in your band.
With like not a metal level of gear, I'd say. Because that's something that like I don't have to deal with at all is like 17 fucking rack toms and 100 cymbals because I just don't.
Because you're straight up playing barely like it's a little more than a cocktail kit.
Yeah, really like
so
a few extra cymbals.
What is the size of your kit?
I've got, it's 4 drums. I just busted a stand, so I've been playing 5 cymbals, like a hi-hat, a ride, and 3 others, and now it's just 2. Like, it's for stuff where you're doing like really atmospheric, like blast beats and stuff, more accent voices like that. Really like. You need them to play more than just like a stream of notes. So like for lots of like black metal, technical death metal, you do I kind of need it. But we're not that extreme most
I'd like
of
to
the
note
time.
there's probably 30 seconds of blast beat.
No, like it happens sometimes.
Sometimes.
But occasionally. So
Right.
like I don't have to deal with that. Like there's a lot of stuff that's just all I need is a hi-hat cymbal for a long part, you know what I mean? So, and that's traveling with Monogamizer is great because like metal band or not, we keep the gear minimal.
Right.
The personnel is as minimal as can be, and I think that really is beneficial to like getting to shows far away, having to make decisions that would be hard with 4, 5, 6 members. Like it's stripping it down has benefits, and travel is definitely one of them for a touring
I feel
band.
that because like Diesel Beast, and we get shit for this every now and then, but we don't wheel in giant cabs. We have what you guys call our purses. we have our little combo.
no.
You
amps.
crank a combo amp with a mic and it sounds badass.
If I had the money, dude, I would just get a Mark bass and come in every gig with that. It would sound amazing. It's it's compact, but whatever. It's gonna
I'm
sound
very
great.
jealous of both of you guys because we have the exact fucking opposite
Yeah,
approach.
I'm jealous.
Like, we have 5 dudes in the band. We wheel in the biggest shit we can find.
It's like I got an 812 cabinet.
Sometimes
don't worry.
John has like 3 guitars on stage.
We are way overkill. Like
Yeah, but y'all have that sweet hotel bus that still looks
Yeah.
like a functioning hotel bus, so nobody
That thing
fucks with you.
beeps so loud when you back it up. It's so
It
loud.
does.
Like if you're in
It's
deep,
obnoxious as fuck. I know.
in deep element, like 3 in the morning when all the streets have cleared out, you just hear Craig backing down like an empty alley. It's like beep, beep, beep. It's so loud. So that's how Silver Tongue Devil gets to gigs. But so you guys can just pack everything into like what, like a
Like-
1 or 2 CRVs, depending on how far.
So when you guys went down to San Marcos, were you in one car?
Yeah.
We got 4 people in the car that time.
yeah.
Oh my
Roadie.
god.
And well, I was fortunate enough to use Oberon's bass amp.
So that's
you're
actually
right.
part of it. That's
yeah.
why.
Shout out to
Otherwise,
Oberon.
no way.
Again, they're batting 2 for 2 as well.
I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah.
Oberon and Crop Dust have made an appearance. We got to get those guys on. But yeah,
Yeah.
they've
We
been
will.
on both episodes.
We will. This is album. This is number 2, episode number 2.
Episode number 2.
We're still very much feeling out our way. So you guys are the guinea pigs,
Oh,
You know.
I hope we can make it back on here.
all right?
Oh no, we'll have you back.
Yeah.
We'll at least
And
survive
we will
long enough
have
to you
resolved the
back.
story of where my keys went.
Right. Hopefully.
Yeah, if you don't know out there, Randall lost his keys during the break, and we have literally been looking for them since.
They like hardcore disappeared.
They're around here somewhere, I think.
So we should take a bet. My bet is they're somewhere, like I dropped them or some shit, because they're not in any of the obvious places, but they could be in some stupid obvious place.
Ooh, that could be dangerous because we have a weird bush situation out front.
Ooh.
There's
Yeah.
lots of bushes.
Weird bush situation up front. See, Randall, the problem too is you took off your backpack, your hat, and your shoes, put some of your belongings in your hat, moved your hat.
I gotta
and
switch it up.
wandered around, man.
No, but the question. This is actually an interesting question or I'm very curious the answer. We have discussed many times so far that you guys have very eclectic influences and things like that. So who do you currently listen to put all of this together?
You go first.
So especially lately, there's this Armenian pianist named Tigran Hamasyan.
Okay.
Who, like, to describe his music, it's like it's got the rhythmic elements of like Meshuggah with these like crazy slow polymetric heavy grooves, but he's like singing melodies, but it's like sometimes there's words, sometimes there's not. It's in Armenian. If it is, usually there's like, I mean, some of his music is just piano, but it really is closer in terms of construct to like modern metal, kind of like Meshuggah. Like it's like, it'll be like, he's got songs that are in 5/4 and 4/4 at the same time constantly, and it's really like, it's heavy. They were just like Meshuggah style grooves, but a lot of it sounds like movie music at the same time. It's kind
very
of
light at the same time.
it's not really jazz music, but it's kind of closer to that kind of like
But
composed
it
style.
still drives.
Well, like he did a couple recordings with the Berklee School of Music and their Eastern Music Fusion Ensemble, and he literally has a metal band. Like he's got a 5-string bass
really
player and a
just jump
7-string
into
guitar
it and
player.
enjoy it.
Really?
It does.
That's
It's got
awesome.
that groove.
It's
going.
describing it is weird, and when you hear it, it's just like, oh, how does this not happen before? That's some incredible music.
What's the name of it?
His name is Tigran Hamasyan. Tigran. I think Hamysan. He's fantastic.
What's up to our Armenian fans?
Yeah. Hey guys.
We know you're there.
Don't forget to like and star and hashtag us Tigran Hamasan at Warlord Radio. Hashtag Tigran
Right.
Hamasan.
I've been getting into a lot of Yes lately. Like my taste in music
Classic.
is going like backwards and forwards at the same time, kind of.
Very
Like
cool.
I've been getting really into just like really early prog. Yes is awesome. I accidentally listened to a bunch of what's his name, Bill Bruford records in a row. He's the drummer on like a bunch of Yes records, a bunch of King Crimson. Like I just got Red on vinyl. I was checking
That's
that
such
out.
a great damn album.
It's incredible. So I've been listening to a bunch of that.
My dad was super into prog, so when I was coming up, I got a lot of like, of course, like Pink Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like from there, he was like, "Hey, check out Jethro Tull, who I still love to this
Yeah.
fucking day." Ton of Yes, King Crimson, Genesis, fucking Level 42. Pretty much
I have the greatest hits in my car. Level best.
anything Rick Wakeman ever touched. My dad. would
Oingo
listen
Boingo
to.
has some like it's so ridiculous, but once you're in the middle of a song, it's like, yeah.
Here's the crazy thing, man. In Denton, back when I was in like high school and middle school, and we had Fry Street, which is where like all the crust punks and shit hung out. And that's where like when I was in high school, that was I fell in with those guys because I mean we all had like weed and stuff, so it was like I'm gonna
Bunch
go
of
hang out with the crust
scoundrels.
punks. But,
Bunch of good for nothings.
and this was in shit to date myself, probably 2000. That was when I was in high school, Nick. And but Oingo Boingo used to play locally here all the fucking time.
Really?
And back then they didn't care. You could just get into bars. Like they just didn't give a shit. And you could drink at said bars. So I mean, like I remember being 16, 17 years old, kind of drunk, just being like, "That's Jack Skellington. Like, this band is awesome."
There he is. Hi.
But yeah, I've seen Oingo Boingo live in this town at just like random places, like not even big venues. I'm talking like the garage and shit.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, I've seen Oingo Boingo like 2 or 3 times. And you want to talk weird prog, like Oingo Boingo followed no rules.
Yeah.
It was they made original music, but each of their song, like Weird Science, they made that tune, but like all their songs sounded like they belonged to just that niche of movie, that summer movie. Like each one of their songs, but that's just how they wrote.
Kind of like
music.
like Talking Heads.
That was the tone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning. I bathed in soap. I rinsed up. Like very descriptive lyrics.
An entire album like that. Monogamizer does David Byrne.
So what do you guys have planned? Like as far as like a songwriting recording?
We are kind of feeling it out right now for the next month and just writing stuff, just jamming it out until Alex gets back. You and I, you know that now.
By the way, I don't think
Like,
the internet knows. Yeah, where is Alex right now?
Probably in China?
Probably.
Question
in
mark?
China?
He's on his way to the Philippines,
Well,
Allegedly.
I think.
God's speed to you, Alex.
Hi, Alex. Wherever
Hey,
you
buddy.
Right.
Safe travels.
What's messed up is by the time this airs, he'll be like back and sitting on your couch, like, "Why are you guys talking?" Sorry, I didn't mean to derail the whole thing.
Why are you
We should try to get him on it again before he hears the first one.
Yeah.
No, or at the same time.
Like I said,
Oh.
we're still feeling this out. Once
Yeah.
Craig and I nail a format, we're probably gonna redo all this shit. Or not redo. We're just gonna do part 2.
In 15 years, you're gonna put this out on the internet. This is a B-side,
Right?
or whatever.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, that's Monogamizer. They won 7 Grammys.
Right?
If
Or
this
one of
band
us
ever
died.
wins, we'll die before we win a Grammy for sure.
You guys remember Randal? He died when he was sucked through that jet engine.
Right? Wasn't he doing coke off a stewardess?
Man, I hope so. I
We'll
wish
see.
that for
We'll
you.
see,
I
he
like you
says.
so much. I hope that's how you go out. Just like I would like to do a coke off a pretty person.
You know, I would
an
actually like
airplane?
to live to see the next 90s to compare the two. I would actually like to
I
die.
didn't even think about that. Makes
The
so much
90s.
sense.
I would
Like,
actually like to be a coherent 100-year-old and die peacefully boring in my bed.
I'm not gonna lie. What I see for you is like brain in a jar, that just says Randal on it.
Like Futurama.
Like, but yeah,
Yeah.
but no, because that's like a head in a jar. I'm talking just a brain, and then
I'm
like
pretty
a
sure
piece
there's
of
a brain
Scotch
museum.
tape,
No, it
and
is
in
the
red
head
Sharpie
museum.
it just says Randal. And then, like, it just, every time you walk by it, it just talks shit a little bit. It's just like, I was here before Trump started the fucking cockroach wars.
You call that a body? I call it a body too, asshole.
So yeah, you're pretty brain in a jarable. I think it's a good way to go for
It's
you.
true. Is this a possible song?
Branded and jarable.
I feel like it could be. So
All right,
what,
get a
what do you
writing credit on that.
what do you guys have out right now?
Yes.
Right now, our newest release is called Religious Vigor, and it is available only on Bandcamp because we aren't to a point where we want to physically put anything out yet.
But you have had an album out before.
Yes.
Is it currently available?
Also on Bandcamp. We
Spotify
are available
streaming as well.
on
And one
Spotify.
more time, what was the Bandcamp link? It's just Bandcamp/Monogamizer.
It's monogamizer.bandcamp.
Monogamizer.bandcamp.
Cool thing about Bandcamp is it lets you put your name before the Bandcamp info,
What's-
whereas Facebook makes you facebook.com/monogamizer.
What's awesome about you guys is if you just type Monogamizer into Google search,
That's it.
because I mean, like any one
Game
of us, like,
over.
all kinds of shit pops up. But like, if you only one thing in the whole world is called Monogamizer, and it's you.
It's true.
So
Good marketing. Good
I would
planning.
be
Very
like
good marketing.
horrified.
Those
if the
Idaho
second one found-
monogamizer
Like,
assholes better watch out. There's no monogamizer
So
in Idaho.
you-
that I believe.
planning on writing for another. Do you think you would do another full album?
I think we'll do an EP first. We've worked out some ways that we've pretty specifically restructured some stuff from the first album. Like we've got a song that's basically and
Reprisals.
it's- yeah, there's new material based off old
Well, I
stuff
mean,
we're gonna re-release, and
but-
we've got some new recordings
that's
for an
actually
EP.
really interesting. I mean, if you've been through this many lineup,
It's like
changes, I mean,
Evil
your
Dead.
entire dynamic
They
changed.
just made the movie again.
Well, it's like at this point we've got a few songs we've really specifically kept from the old material that's a little bit different than the recordings. So
Right.
like, I guess I'd say Alex and I helped arrange the music as opposed to having written it, but it's definitely different to the point that we're like, it's not what you're going to hear live. We might as well actually re-record some of it. And then we've got some new songs as well. So like an EP is coming
Well-
probably sooner than later.
Cool.
As far as the concept of the new EP, it's going to be called Less and Less Unheard Of. And it's going to be about 3, 4, maybe 5 songs long. And that's going to come out this year. And a new album will make its way out probably next year if we really, really take our time and release what we really want to. And that is to say just how particular we are with what we release, but we are going to release an EP this year
Cool.
that we are going to push in everyone's faces and play shows for.
And what about shows? Where do you guys? Do you have any plans? I mean, I know Alex is out of town, but once
Yeah.
he's back,
We've got 3 dates in July as of now.
We
I
have
believe it's
1 in June and
June,
then 2
that's
in
right.
July.
Okay.
We have June 15th at Tomcats with Sumo Kim.
That's a great name for a band.
They're
Another one of
I have
those.
not had the pleasure with Sumo.
Singular
Kim.
name, man.
Yeah, seriously.
check them out. And then we have July 20th at Blue Note in Oklahoma City. And then we have July 21st at Sessions, the new Ada, Oklahoma
Ada.
bar.
Really excited about that.
Big
one.
shout out again to Oberon
right?
from Ada.
well, we ju-
Oberon ties this entire scene together, and they're not even
They-
from this state.
they're the rug that completes the room.
They are very
So-
much so. Well, we would like to thank you guys very much for coming out. And once you release anything, we'll totally have you back.
Right?
The pressure's
If
on.
you guys
man.
do
Just
anything at all.
Right.
And remember, like, this is normally the spot where I'm like, tell everybody where they can find you on the internet, but just type Monogamizer into Google search.
It'll probably take you to
probably
our
be okay.
Bandcamp, and you can find all of our music at Bandcamp
So
or
to,
Spotify.
So to your future or existing fans that are listening 500 years in the future when this has been archived, what would you like to say to them?
I'm a brain in a jar.
If I'm not,
If I were to quote Randal Day to my old fans, it would probably be, "Thanks for tolerating us. We've been Monogamizer."
There you go.
yeah. If I can't talk shit, being a brain in the jar, I will probably see you in hell.
There you go.
I liked it. It's both self-deprecating and slightly threatening.
Right?
Kind of just rude.
I'll see you
really,
there. I'll
Randal.
point you out.
Right? So everybody go check out Monogamizer.
Absolutely.
See them
check out
live. When is
Monogamizer.
your next local Denton show? Do you have one lined up?
We're trying to put something together for June 14th. That's kind of coming up soon, but
Our guitar player's out of the country for a month.
yeah,
What do you do?
we
A little
are
hard to plan.
We're
right?
enjoying a kind of a break from shows for about a month.
You've been
now.
very active up till now.
yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
great.
you guys have, I mean, here in the last 3 or 4 months, how many shows have you even played? I mean, it's been a ton.
We've gotten to travel around a lot in the past few months.
It's been awesome. I've been tracking your progress via social
Finally,
Yeah.
we play out of states.
We-
When I track you guys' progress, like around.
He
I feel
stalks
like,
you.
yeah,
Is
I
more
do.
accurate.
I feel like
fine.
a dude that like watches porn while wearing a hoodie with the hood up, like just so I can be extra creepy.
Whenever I go to shows, I'm just like, I'm zeroed in just like on how they're doing show. Like I'm too anxious to like truly enjoy live shows anymore without like, just like,
Trying to figure out how to do it too. I know what you mean. Like it gets to the point where it's like I'm almost more comfortable being on the stage than off of it, honestly.
Right.
And of course, I've played music forever, so even before this band, I felt that way, just like listening to kind of any music.
yeah.
Just uncomfortable to sit there.
The
and
live
look at it.
setting
I'd way
of it.
rather do it. I'd way rather do it.
Isn't it weird? Like, I think every musician has this weird fantasy that you go to a concert and you see a band that you really love, and like, say it's Iron Maiden for me. I'm sitting in the audience and Iron Maiden's playing, and then like, God forbid, or God's forbid, or Satan for whoever the fuck, a stage light falls and knocks Steve Harris the
I know,
fuck
like,
out.
there
and
he
then they just
goes.
look at me and they're like,
My
"You
fingers are ready.
grab up and play bass," and I'm just like,
It's time
"I
to
was
gallop."
Born for this. The prophecy is nearly complete. Every musician, that is so hard to be an audience.
Starting
member
tonight,
and
Trent
musician.
Reznor needs a full-time bass player.
That's right.
You know all the songs too well. Get up here.
You're like, I'm gonna finish coming and I'll be right up. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming
That's
out.
the last thing.
Hold
Yes.
up, no, we have one more thing. So this is the second episode, and I propose that we need a sweet ass sign off
Yes.
because we don't have one. Randal is a very creative type, as he has talked about his visual arts and his wild. So like, what would be a fucking sweet ass send off for Warlord Radio? Like, we need a sign out.
Well,
Or
okay.
whatever that's called, sign off. Professional.
Craig Meinhardt and Carrek Coleman are what are your radio names you're gonna go with? Like
Probably Craig Meinhardt.
Craig and Carrek.
I'm going to be Jason
This is
Rochester.
Craig and Court. He's war.
I'm Jason Rochester. I'm the brainchild.
We're all Jason Rochester.
For legal purposes.
All right, so here's the sign out. This has been Warlord Radio. Our apologies to Jason Rochester.
Jason Rochester apologizes for this episode of Warlord Radio.
Perfect.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having us, man.
Ta-da.
I'm a